Basically, the reason is that I need a costume. And I'd be happy to pay you $100 over the rental price for the inconvenience.
Hey, welcome to my channel. And as you can see from the title, today we're talking about Eyes Wide Shut, and we're going to take a look at that strange costume shop that Dr. Bill goes to before he gets to that mansion party. And let's see if we can do a deep dive on it and find out what's going on. Now, I guess we have to start at the Sonata Jazz Club, where Nick Nightingale is playing because that's where Dr. Bill is first told about a wild party, a party that you need a password to get into, and you also need a costume and a mask. Also, this party apparently starts late at 2 in the morning. So, it's after midnight, but Dr. Bill gets in a cab and goes out looking for a costume shop that's open, and he finds one. I really have to mention here how odd this is. I live in New York, and costume stores aren't open this late on random nights in December. Here's a pic of an actual costume shop that I walk by on my way to buy groceries at the store. They're only open till 8 p.m. So why is this shop open till what appears to be 1 in the morning? It's odd.
And a mask.
Yes.
Okay. I think we'll find something for you. Follow me, please.
Good.
So, Dr. Bill shows up at this costume shop called, apparently, The Rainbow. And under that lit up sign, you can see it also says Under the Rainbow. It's an odd name and a possible Wizard of Oz reference to someone that might be going on a journey. It's after midnight, and yet the owner answers the buzzer. But look how old this building is. It's already kind of a strange place to have a late night costume shop. Then, after offering to pay an extra $200 to rent the costume this late, the man, Mr. Millich, takes Dr. Bill into the surprisingly drab and downbeat looking place. I mean, this is a costume shop? Shouldn't it be colorful and inviting? Especially at Christmas time. But just one sad little tree and some signs very high up that say Merry Christmas, but it isn't festive at all. Then Bill asks for a hooded costume and mask. Millich tells Dr. Bill he has something for him, but it's in the back room of the shop, through a hidden door. Also, look at the racks here. Just rows and rows of black jackets. It's the most depressing costume shop ever. Apparently, behind the back door, there's a room with actual costumes in it. But why is it hidden? It hints that most customers walking in wouldn't ever see the back room. Is it only for certain clients? And who's the clientele of this shop? Then we get to the back area with some fairly elaborate costumes. And interestingly, the back wall you see here looks like it's the same curtain of light that we saw at the Ziegler party. Remember the lights on that staircase? They look very similar. So there's a connection in my mind between this shop and the Ziegler party. Also, look at this shot. Those costumes you see in the back on the mannequins are possibly from another Kubrick film, Barry Lyndon. So finally, it seems like Dr. Bill will get his costume. Just then, Millich hears a noise and goes to look. But this is strange, since the shop was locked and dark, so there shouldn't be anyone in it. Okay, I guess we're going to have to talk about this scene now, in which Millich will go into a side room with many wigs in it, where he finds two men with his daughter. This scene is so unexpected, to be honest. I feel it needs its own video, so I'm not going to talk too much about it right now. We can only imagine what Dr. Bill is actually even thinking of this bizarre scene and what is actually going on. But apparently, he does get his costume and ends up in a car ride on the way to the mansion party. After that, we arrive at the mansion when we finally get to see the hooded costume Dr. Bill rented, and he puts on the mask, after which we get the whole mansion sequence involving Red Cloak and his attendants and all the cult members. Somehow I doubt that Red Cloak's robes come from that same costume shop, though. The next day, Dr. Bill goes back to the costume shop to return the costume. Somehow it looks even less impressive in the daylight, and he has forgotten the mask. He also realizes this Millich guy is really a bad guy, and again, in the cold light of day, I think Dr. Bill is having regrets about ever having dealings with this sketchy costume shop and its owner. Well, now we're going to talk about The Wizard of Oz. It's a story about a young girl who's unsatisfied with her life at home and runs away, only to end up in a strange place with unusual people who are dressed up rather oddly. Also, in case you didn't know, Toto is always right in The Wizard of Oz. I mean his instincts of what's going on. And in fact, he's the one who pulls the curtain back on the wizard. Now, contrast that with Eyes Wide Shut, where Dr. Bill ends up at a costume shop called The Rainbow, similar to the song Dorothy sings in The Wizard of Oz called Somewhere Over the Rainbow. He also is unsatisfied with parts of his life and gets away for the night to end up in a strange place with oddly dressed people. I guess Red Cloak is supposed to be the Wizard of Oz, but there are some connections. So, to start our sum up, Dr. Bill does go on a journey of sorts in this film, and before it starts, he goes to a rather sleazy costume shop called The Rainbow. The place presents itself as rather secretive, and it's all a bit cloak and dagger, having to go through a back door to see the actual costumes. It's almost an otherworldly portal Dr. Bill has to enter through to get to the magical dealings at the mansion party. But the name of this shop gives the clue here. It's called The Rainbow, and I feel that's an obvious Wizard of Oz reference. And The Wizard of Oz is about someone that goes on a journey, eventually at the end coming to the conclusion that, quote, there's no place like home. Now, The Wizard of Oz is fairly wholesome, and the costume shop in Eyes Wide Shut is most definitely not wholesome. But maybe that's the point of this shop for Dr. Bill. He has a cold light of day moment when he returns the costume and realizes just how bad a guy Millich is. Maybe that snaps Dr. Bill back to reality so he can come to the conclusion that there really is no place like home, and he didn't have it that bad with his wife and daughter, and he should try and patch things up with them. At least that's the easy conclusion, but perhaps there's a more insidious conclusion involving such a strange character as Millich and a bizarre place like the costume shop. And that's the idea that Dr. Bill was being set up, in a way, by Nick Nightingale. And if the whole thing's a setup, then maybe the costume shop is too. I mean, what kind of costume shop keeps all their costumes behind a back door that nobody can see? As usual, Kubrick wraps this scene in quite a bit of mystery. But I can't help but feel Dr. Bill is being tested in a way while he is there in that strange costume shop. Well, that's my new video about that strange costume shop and Eyes Wide Shut. Hope you liked it. I do apologize if my voice is a little scratchy today, but I'm recording this really early in the morning in New York City, so I apologize. I'm definitely working on something for next week, and I hope to have that up soon. Also, it would definitely help my channel if you hit that subscribe button. And I'd also like to thank everyone for all the comments you leave under my videos. I do read them, and I really appreciate it. Also, my name is Shim, and I want to thank you for spending some time with me.
Are you the gentleman with the taxi waiting for him?
Yes.